Hello, this is Rachel Robinson, and this is my EDS 709 research presentation. The research topic that I chose to study was kindergarten teacher perceptions of school readiness skills and Alabama's First Class Office of School Readiness pre-K program. The purpose of this study was to explore kindergarten teachers' perceptions of kindergarten readiness skills in terms of students who completed a first-class Office of School Readiness pre-K program and those who did not complete a first-class Office of School Readiness pre-K program. There was plenty of literature out there on what school readiness skills looked like and if these were skills that were important for children to have when entering school. The Alabama Office of School Readiness Handbook defines school readiness as a condition where children enter school with an enthusiasm for learning, an ability to function in a social setting, age-appropriate communication and problem-solving skills, age-appropriate physical and emotional skills, and optimal health. Betancourt, Gross, Ho, and Perrin conducted a study on social emotional skills and found that building a strong foundation of social and emotional skills was vital during the early childhood years. Those prerequisite skills for kindergarten had an enormous impact on a student's ability to learn. They also found that children who were lower socially and behaviorally struggled in kindergarten. They lacked the prerequisite school readiness social and emotional skills gained from attending a pre-K or preschool setting. Children who had an inability to function in a school setting due to poor social and emotional skills were at a greater risk of experiencing negative outcomes such as low levels of academic achievement or failure, grade retention, or rejection by peers. In literacy, the existing literature talked about how children in preschool were expected to be able to listen and follow directions, respond appropriately to statements and questions, recognize common sounds and words, retell fiction and nonfiction text, recognize rhyming words, recognize and write their own name, develop a writing sense by using early invented spelling when attempting to convey a message. And this comes from the Alabama Developmental Standards for Preschool Children. With the existing literature in math, Matera, Jacob, Morris, and MDRC conducted a study and said that early math skills were proven to be a significant predictor in the future academic success of a child. There was a significant lack of research on these perceptions from kindergarten teachers. This study gave insight into outside teachers' perceptions of first-class OSR pre-K programs. By knowing the perceptions of kindergarten teachers on this specific pre-K program, connections between pre-K and kindergarten could be made and bridge the achievement gap between these two essential programs. To guide the focus of this study, the following questions were formulated. The first question asked, how did teachers perceive social and emotional skills of students who completed a first-class OSR pre-K program and those who did not? The second question asked, how did teachers perceive literacy skills of students who completed an OSR pre-K program and in those who did not? And the third question asked how teachers perceived math skills of students who completed a first-class OSR pre-K classroom or pre-K program and those who did not. A qualitative instrumental case study was used for an in-depth exploration of kindergarten teacher perception. This design allowed the researcher, myself, to collect data from a small group of kindergarten teachers in a short amount of time, using multiple forms of data. The participants used were 2 kindergarten teachers from a rural pre-K through 12 public school within the southeastern United States. Qualitative data for this study was collected from one-on-one interviews with the 2 kindergarten teachers, observations within each kindergarten teacher's classroom, and work samples obtained from kindergarten students within those teachers' classrooms who completed a first-class Office of School Readiness program. Unexpected quantitative data was provided in the form of beginning and mid-year Dibble scores, as well as the first-of-the-year report cards. This form of study was used as it would give real teacher perception as well as data that would back said perceptions. After obtaining all the data I analyzed the data I received, and the following themes and sub-themes were found and categorized. Research findings indicated that teachers perceived social and emotional skills in students who completed a first-class Office of School Readiness pre-K program to be higher than in those students who did not complete a program or they went elsewhere. Both teachers that were interviewed stated that they were able to see differences in how OSR pre-K children expressed themselves during conflict compared to children who did not attend an OSR pre-K. It was stated during these interviews that OSR pre-K students were able to communicate their feelings and thoughts better than students who did not attend an OSR pre-K. These findings indicate that students who attend a first-class OSR pre-K program are generally more socially and emotionally prepared for kindergarten, which, if we go back and look at the literature, that's what students need to be able to succeed. As stated by the Alabama Department of Children's Affairs Office of School Readiness, children deemed school ready entered the school setting with an excitement for learning, the ability to socialize with peers and adults, age-appropriate communication and emotional skills, and optimal health. Further findings showed that teachers perceived no significant differences in literacy skills in students who completed a first-class Office of School Readiness pre-K program than in those students who did not complete the program or went elsewhere. Teachers offered that OSR pre-K students tended to be better at rhyming or at critically thinking through a story, but children who attended elsewhere or not at all tended to be stronger with letter formation and identification. The Dibbles data was looked at, and it suggested that students who attended an OSR pre-K program did slightly better at the beginning of the year, but by the middle of the year, things had evened out, and there was no statistical difference in the children who attended an OSR pre-K program and in those who did not. In addition to the literacy findings, teachers perceived no significant differences in math skills in students who completed a first-class OSR pre-K program than in those who did not. Teachers stated during interviews that OSR pre-K students had a better number sense, but that students from elsewhere were able to write their numbers better and could rote count better. A myriad of math skills reported on student report cards at the beginning of the year was looked at, and there was no significant correlation between high math skills in students who attended an OSR pre-K program and in those who did not. Conclusions can be made that students attending an OSR first-class Office of School Readiness pre-K program typically possess more social and emotional skills than students who did not attend such a pre-K. This data does not show a significant difference in learned literacy and math skills in students who attended an OSR pre-K and those who went elsewhere or did not attend. There are a couple of relevant implications that we can take away from this research. Educators need to communicate with each other. Within our our own school systems as well as outside the school system, there's a disconnect between pre-K and preschools and kindergarten expectations and standards. Standalone preschools are pushing handwriting skills and letter formation, while OSR pre-Ks are placing an emphasis on play and communication building. If the gap could be bridged between the two, school readiness skills could be strengthened, thus more students coming to kindergarten school ready. Standalone preschools need to place more emphasis on concept development and social and emotional skills. Preschools need to delve deeper into subjects and student feelings in order to help children become more school ready. Future research is needed in kindergarten teacher perceptions, as this study was only able to obtain 2 participants from the same school. More teachers need to participate in the study to have more unbiased results. If and when further research is done, data collection needs to take place at the beginning of the school year rather than the middle of the year. And again, the preschool teacher perceptions and kindergarten standards, we need to bridge the gap between the two so that we can make sure that students arrive to kindergarten with school readiness skills that they need to be successful. The following are references used in this study.